Yes, guys, so we are finally ready to another reaction on this BrBpTV YouTube platform. I'm your boy Mr. Lix. Welcome to each and every one of you guys who've tuned into another Vibrations. Guys, I just want to say I appreciate every single one of you guys who are definitely interacting, and of course we'll give your views as well. This is where I'm gonna give my views. What are your views, brothers and sisters, on the things we're gonna be talking about here on this press conference that was released today about the Prime Minister giving his views on different things, brothers and sisters? And of course, let us get into the vibrations, but don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. And with that said, let us get into the vibes for today right there. This is none other than Mr. Carly John Baptist. He's going to ask an interesting question. Hopefully I have it on par.
Questions. Sure. The first one I want to deal with is some comments from two archbishops.
So this is what I was talking about yesterday, brothers and sisters, on the basis. I'm going to clarify everything right there.
Archbishop of Trinidad and Tobago, Jason Gordon, and former Bishop of Roseau, now Archbishop of Castro St. Lucia, Gabriel Malze.
So for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, actually did a reaction of the Trinidadian Archbishop or Catholic Bishop, whatever you want to call him, brothers and sisters, the father individual. He actually gave his views on the whole EU slash new agreement that they have with the Caribbean, Pacific and African nations. And of course we were talking about this, and I was telling individuals to be careful, but the Prime Minister is going to answer to this. So
who they are speaking out about a recent agreement that was signed, and Archbishop Gordon is praising Trinidad and Tobago for not signing it. What I'm reading there is that it was signed by St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We want to know if Dominica signed the agreement, and if they did, what is in it for Dominica? Because from what I am listening to from the archbishops, there are serious implications.
It
LGBT,
does,
etc., etc. I have a lot more questions, but I'll come back after. But this is very important.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a Catholic. Everybody knows that, and I do follow Archbishop Gordon from time to time. I believe he is a great leader of the Catholic Church, and the content of his sermons are always very well thought of and researched, and I think his sermons.
So his content is always very well thought of and researched. All right.
Usually, and all of the time, it really help us in our journey towards heaven. And so I have the greatest admiration for Archbishop Gordon, and of course Archbishop Malze. Of course, I have the greatest of respect for, and I have listened to both of their sermons in respect to this agreement, this Samoa agreement. So I will not respond. I'm not responding to them. I'm responding to the general concerns that have been raised. We don't believe that the agreement, I'll say the Samoa agreement, that have been negotiated between the EU and the African and Caribbean states, which is a replacement
Pacific
of the
state.
Cotonou Agreement. And when you go to the Cotonou Agreement, some of this articles and clauses that are captured in the Samoa Agreement are similar in nature. And I believe that there are really two areas where there is an interpretation of the language that would give one the impression that those things that have been pointed out are in fact in the agreement, but they're not in the agreement. And
the Prime Minister is correct right there. The terms I was talking about yesterday are not exactly in the agreement. However, we're gonna break it down for you guys.
To draw to your attention and for the listening public, it's a 403-page document, and so I will draw to your attention to a couple of the areas that readers may want to go to and to look at and to form an interpretation of
I have this stuff right there, brothers and sisters.
There's Article 29, which speaks to health. And you go under Article 29, you go to Section 5. And Section 5 says, the parties shall support universal access to sexual and reproductive health commodities and healthcare services, including for family planning, information and education, and the integration of reproductive health into national strategies and programs. This is what the document says. Article 48, gender equality and empowerment of girls and women. And under Article 48, information and health support 5. And you go under Article 29, you go to Section 5. And Section 5 says, the parties shall support universal access to sexual and reproductive health commodities and healthcare services, including for family planning, information and education, and the integration of reproductive health into national strategies and programs.
No, this doesn't give any specifics, guys. I'm going to break it down for you guys in a while.
Article 48, gender equality and empowerment of girls and women. And under Article 48, you go to Section 7. And this is what Section 7 says. The parties shall commit to the full and effective implementation of the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action and the Program of Action of the International Conference on Population and Development and the outcomes of the review conferences. They shall further stress the need for universal access to quality and affordable comprehensive sexual and reproductive health information and education, take into consideration the UNESCO International Technical Guidance on Sexuality Education, as well as the need for the delivery of sexual and reproductive healthcare services. They shall pursue the effective implementation of the Montevideo Consensus on Population and Development as appropriate. And so some of the things that have been pointed out that are in the document are really not in the document. And I think people are looking at those sections and articles and indicating that there may be an opportunity for some of the things that we have concerns with may find themselves being implemented in our countries.
That's exactly what it is.
I respect the concern of the church, and I don't think the concern of the church may necessarily be misplaced. I think what the church may want to say to us instead is to caution us against going on that route. But it is not in the agreement.
So, well, let me just stop there, guys. So, this is a long, my God, that's a long article, different sections and all those kind of things there, guys. 48. There's a number of, you say 48. Which one? That deals with gender. Okay. He says 7. So this is what he just read a while ago, guys. So it's actually there. Now, though these things is not specific, but there's something I must point out right there, brothers and sisters. Although it's not by name, but there is something called pluralism in this thing right there. Pluralism, pluralistic societies, they're trying to push these agendas, and under these very pluralistic societies and pluralism, brothers and sisters, they can then usher into these things. Now you might be wondering, what exactly is pluralism, brothers and sisters? A situation in which people of different social classes, religions, etc., races, etc., are together in a society but continue to have their different traditions and interests. Okay? So in pretty much accepting whatever interests and whatever thought process and just completely removing any sort of moral backing to things. So it's what I believe, what that interests me, and not necessarily what is collective to the majority of the people. So in other words, the minority has their views that they can push or impose. You see what is happening in the United States? They're pushing and imposing their own stuff because, of course, they're being fed money and they're pushing the agenda across all these kind of things there. So it's through the very situation of pluralism that is defined right there. Pluralism has been found in this thing about 8 times. So certain things that they're talking about, even though they might not have named it pluralism, but there are certain specifics. For example, the party shall inclusive and pluralistic societies. This is one of the things that they want to push in societies. The party shall protect and promote freedom of expression, freedom of opinion, freedom of assembly, media independence, and pluralism as pillars of democracy, noting that these are not only human rights but also prerequisites for democracy, development, and dialogue. So on the basis of whatever that individuals want to believe in society, whether it's wrong or right, brothers and sisters, you should not go against that narrative right there. And as a result of that, you can then use and foster that understanding into pushing certain agendas, because you're trying to be inclusive and doing what? Creating pluralistic societies right there. So that's one of the things that they have. There's always a promotion of political pluralism and strengthening transparency. So it's on that basis that they're talking about. Now when they're talking about this, the education and you know, relations and this kind of things there, they want to make it broad, because if you look at this whole thing, there's no mention of female and male on the basis of understanding the dichotomy in which human beings operate to propagate natural remedies or natural outcomes right there. So you can see it's just these two. If you read this thing for yourself, you realize forced marriage and female genitalia mutilation, and that's only where this is mentioned. This is only where this is mentioned, brothers and sisters. It's always about genital, you know, you can read, I don't know, I don't want to go with YouTube. Now when I go for the male one, no, brothers and sisters, it is still just this. This is the only part where male and female are mentioned when it comes on to this agreement right there. Genital, that's the only time these things are mentioned. So when they're talking about pluralism, brothers and sisters, this is what they were talking about. This is what the priests and the other folks have been warning Dominicans and telling individuals, beware of these things, because then you can push certain agendas as a result of, under the disguise of pluralism, brothers and sisters. I remember when I heard that term for the first time, I was like, what is that? Then went into research and figure out that anything pretty much goes when you're trying to push pluralistic societies. So that's one of the things that they try to push, and this is one of the things that the priests and these individuals are warning against. So the question here is, will Dominica sign this? Because also what SKERRIT is saying is correct. It's not written in definition of what the priest and everybody was talking about, but because of what pluralism means, brothers and sisters, and there's no specifics when it comes down to sexual education, brothers and sisters, then of course they can push certain agendas through that. That is what they're talking about right there. Although it's not written in name, that is what they're obviously going to be pushing right there. So that is something that we have to be mindful of.
Agreement. And so I give my dear leaders of the Catholic Church the assurance that this is not the case.
It is the case. It's under the disguise of pluralism. So I mean, then again, incompetence. And people who are thoroughly researched in this thing will understand, hey, okay, we understand that certain things are not being placed there for a reason, but then it's under the disguise of what? Pluralism. You should push, and they literally have this there, you know, guys. They literally have this there, pushing that society, inclusive and pluralistic societies. Parties undertake to ensure equal opportunities for all members of society in all spheres of life. They shall prevent, prohibit, and eradicate discriminatory practices, and shall adopt effective measures to ensure the full and equal enjoyment of all human rights, no matter what it is. This is what it is disguised under. They literally have it there. This is what it's disguised to, guys. And I understand there's discrimination and those kind of things there, but where's the moral backing behind these things? Do they even, let me see if they have. There's literally zero mention of moral or morality principle. Let me see. Multilateralism is the key principle. So it doesn't really, God for me there, direct principle, blah blah blah. So it doesn't really have any mention, so to speak, of parties shall pursue the objective of this agreement in spirit. So it's not just taking peace, but the whole thing, which will of course include pluralism. And well, anyways, let's go back to if the government is actually signing this thing.
And we know, and quite rightly, as I said, we know that they're international, the countries and organizations and institutions who have particular views on these things, and they would like for us to implement these things. But I don't think the population of Dominica is ready for these things. And if we're going to go to this area, to those areas, and I believe that we should do a referendum on these matters. But I don't think that those sections in the agreement, articles in the agreement, really
pinpoint
is saying that's what we're doing.
But it's disguised under something else. If they're telling you that they want you to push pluralistic societies, what do you think that means? It's the acceptance of everything. You know what that means, brothers and sisters? One of the highest money making businesses involves, you know, on the little ones, you know, brothers and sisters, trafficking little ones. That is a $150 billion industry in the United States alone.
Even when you go to the document and they speak about the death penalty, the document recognizes that the countries who have the death penalty, all they're asking for countries where you have the death penalty is that we go through the necessary legal processes and give the individuals a fair hearing and go through all of the exhaustive processes and so forth. But I don't think the document itself highlights what are being pointed out in the public domain.
It would not, SKERRIT. It would not highlight it because they know certain countries are against this kind of things. But when you want to try to tell individuals who are going to be pushing pluralistic societies, what do you think that means? You think they're gonna write in bold, we not for LB and, you know, all the alphabets and what? You think they're gonna be putting that in the document and saying, oh, if you push this and push that, you need to be this? But they're pushing something that will be disguised. It'll be disguised under it's pure pluralistic societies. Boy.
Of course, we can read it further. Of course, people have different interpretations of the Bible, of the document, like we have in the Bible. People have different interpretations.
But it's not about interpretation, sir. It's about context. It is about the context that it is written in. A number of persons can say everything about the Bible, you know, but it's within the context that it is written. That is the defining point there. When you're reading one verse and say, oh, look, that it's saying, well, what is the context of it? What is the context of it? Reading the agreement, and the literal agreement has pluralism in there. Literal agreement has pluralism there. It is mentioned 5 times. And when it comes down to the pluralistic society, it's mentioned 8 times. 8 times, brothers and sisters. So I think we need to understand when it comes down to this. They mention about democracy and they promote our political really? I mean, come on. You cannot be that blind. I mean, maybe he doesn't know what pluralism means. Maybe he doesn't know.
And so it will all be left for interpretations.
But if you sign an agreement that is promoting the very thing that is within context of the entire agreement, you're not signing a piece of the agreement, you know. You're signing the whole agreement that is promoting or has the potential to promote certain things that is not conducive to Caribbean people. And it will be forced. Of course, you see what's happening in the United States. They're forcing all sorts of strange things on the little ones. Don't you think that's what's going to happen in the Caribbean? I mean, come on, SKERRIT. I mean, come on. Come on. I learned about pluralism when I was on the Obama them, you know. I learned about it. That's why I know what it is. That is the societies that they want to push across. They don't want to say it by name, LB, all kind of letter in the alphabet. They don't want to say it by name. But that is exactly what they're trying to be pushing. The acceptance of everything. You know what that is, guys? It's a satanistic principle. Do what thou wilt. But of course, you know, if he's aligned to the one world order, obviously he's gonna try his best to push it. I'm sure he's gonna sign it.
You know, so but in terms of the language, I don't necessarily believe that that's the case. We intend.
You don't necessarily believe that is the case.
To sign?
Oh, of course. Of course. So after all the warnings that have been given, well, like I told you guys before, they don't go after the people, you know. They don't go after the people, and I understand sometimes the people are ignorant. Ignorance just means you don't know, and therefore you're making decisions on what you don't know. I wonder if SKERRIT knows what is SKERRIT pluralism. That's what they're gonna push it under. They're promoting pluralistic societies, sir. That's the acceptance of everything. Everybody coming together. So if you want to say that's not good to do, you cannot say that. That's the Scientologist kind of mentality. I know about Scientology, you know, brothers and sisters. I've been around this. I've been to the buildings and all those kind of things there. They're promoting this. You cannot go against it. They can indoctrinate your little ones, but you cannot go against it. This is one of the things that they promote in the United States right now. Oh, if your little one is confused about whether they are this way or that way, they're telling the little ones not to tell their parents, and they're making decisions on behalf of the parents, which is very interesting. Boy, you think the world easy, boy?
Yeah. Did Dominica sign?
No, Dominica, we were not able to attend the Samoa conference, but we intend to sign. I believe overall it is a good document.
So
it could be more refined. It could be something.
But you want to sign it. It could be more refined, but you want to sign it. Isn't that what you just said?
Samoa conference, but we intend to sign.
We intend to sign. And you know, it's from the way you're talking, you know that there's something up in there. Well, I pointing it out. It's the promotion of pluralistic societies.
I believe overall.
And you believe overall. You read the document. I have the document there, guys. If you want it, I have the whole thing there. Okay, you can clearly see the whole thing there. It has different sections, as you probably tell a while ago. This written was 15. This was written in 2021, April 15th. Partnership agreement with the European Union and its member states of the one part and members of the Organization of Africa, Caribbean and Pacific States. So that's what the O is, Organization of Africa, Caribbean and Pacific States of the other part. Brothers and sisters, we need to be mindful of these things, man. Scary want to say, but you read it, my brother. Hey. There's another thing right there, brothers and sisters, that I think, let me see if I can get it. I think somebody asked an important question, brothers and sisters, of what is happening between Guyana and Venezuela. I actually sent that to some individuals, and they told me the United States wants to come, and that cannot happen. Let's listen to what SKERRIT has to say in that regard. And then they talk about salaries and those things there. Let me see.
No, they come.
Yeah, they have to come. Venezuela annexing portions of Guyana and the possibility of a regional conflict would result in military action.
So what let me...
My simple response to this, I don't think.
You don't think? That is the problem. You don't think. They already, Venezuela, guys, let me break it down for you. So right now, Venezuela wants, so recently Guyana found they have interesting minerals and oils in their land, right? Now Guyana wants to keep it to their people, which is of course a good thing. I think I've mentioned that before. They want to keep it solely to their people. Their people get first bidding. So all of a sudden Venezuela must have heard that and decide, hey, what? Okay, we want to annex a certain part of Guyana. They just feel like they want to annex a certain part of Guyana, right? So Venezuela has been cutting on, I've saw the videos, they have been cutting on certain parts of the area, and it has been stated that they're going to be building a military air base there to carry out their bidding for annexing the part of Venezuela. This is what what's his name, Kalai, mentioned a while ago, brothers and sisters. Annexing parts of Guyana. So annexing parts of Guyana, Venezuela want the part where they say it has minerals and these things that Guyana recently found. In the next 5 years, Guyana is going to be the richest nation on planet Earth if it's not interfered with by outside forces, and the people in Guyana are going to be some of the richest individuals in the world. Obviously, Venezuela wants a piece of that, and it seems like it's not just little piece in it. It seems like it's half of Guyana they want to take. But that's something else. So you know what's going to happen, brothers and sisters, from my understanding in the whole thing? It seems like Venezuela wants to take over. SKERRIT say you don't believe that it's going to happen, and they're cutting down trees for them to set up airports. What are they doing there? What do you think they're doing there? SKERRIT said they don't believe that's going to happen. He doesn't believe. Apparently he's not paying attention. But what is happening there, brothers and sisters? They're cutting down trees for them to build the airfield and whatnot, for them to create things so that they can, create war in Guyana. What's going to happen, brothers and sisters? Guyana, I don't think, has the level of defense that Venezuela has. So what's going to happen? America is going to jump in. America is going to jump in to save Guyana from Venezuela. Obviously, when you save Guyana from Venezuela, what's going to happen? America then has a bidding in that oil. Isn't that what tends to happen? Actually mentioned this to one of my individuals and my cousins, who's going to be a part of that situation right there. not on the basis of the war, but of course in utilizing Guyana, and you know, because they're from Guyana. You guys saw when I was in the Caribbean thing, you saw how much Guyanese people so you get my point. So this situation is like history repeating itself. Guyana wants to keep their stuff for their people. Venezuela say, oh, I want a little something in there, I want to. So obviously Guyana going to want to seek help from America. America comes in and oh boy, SKERRIT say he doesn't believe that's gonna happen. Oh boy, brothers and sisters, let me move on here. I think one of them, I asked them about the salary.
You're conspicuously silent for a little while, so I was a little concerned about that.
Yeah.
But I'm happy you're back, and of course, engaging the media. We've heard, as it relates to salary increases, not only for the public officers, but for the Prime Minister and his cabinet. Can you clarify as to how much, and if you did get an increase, can the economy, given the increase, can the economy hold up for this?
Sure. Okay. Well,
So they asked SKERRIT about the salary. I don't know if you guys heard this is very low. I don't know why don't they put the speaker under the camera or put a connection to the thing? You have a microphone. For what reason you have the microphone if the microphone is so light? Anyways, so they're asking SKERRIT about salary increase, government salary increase. I know government got salary increase, yeah. So that is actually what happened.
One question.
yeah. As you know, the government engaged in a reclassification exercise of the public service, and to look at the job descriptions, the terms of engagement, the emoluments, that is to say salaries and allowances for all public officers and police officers, because as you know, the police service falls under.
So police officers get 30% increase.
Different act as that of the public officers.
Brothers and sisters, what? I'll let him continue. Some of all you say you don't like to hear SKERRIT talk. So let me talk, brothers and sisters. On the basis of him talking about salary increase, what has the government done to warranty themselves getting a salary increase? What? Have they bettered the people or the lives of the people? Right now we're doing load shedding, brothers and sisters, for electricity. The Prime Minister said, I think somebody stated that the Prime Minister said load shedding will end this month or next month because they have backup generators coming in and all this kind of something there. Backup generators, not the capacity is only needed to get that will meet the criteria of what is needed, the megawatts. Not that backup generators they say they get in. I myself don't know about what is going on, but it's scary talking about backup generator. Anyways, guys, let me get back into what. Let's continue.
And so
Boy.
the reclassification exercise was approved by Parliament in terms of the salary increases for public officers, and the majority of public officers, over 3,000 public officers, saw an increase in their salaries.
3,000 public officers. So what, 6% increase? And you guys increasing yours by 30%. Matt asked an important question. How do you think that's gonna be handled by an economy that is not producing much? Yourself have stated, SKERRIT, that CBI is not producing like it used to back in the day. So if it's not producing like it used to back in the day, doesn't that mean you're going to be taking from the very people who are giving taxes? Monies that should be used to actually help the economy and do things in society?
Ranging from between 6 and 13% increases. Now, if you go to the last time the Parliament approved...
They're not talking about public servants, no? They're talking about the government's increase. Why are you including that for?
Increase for parliamentarians. So the increase was not only to the cabinet, but to parliamentarians. If you look at the 2007 budget address, we would have indicated, and of course Parliament would have approved, that the Parliament salaries would be fixed against that of public servants. So if public servants were to get an increase in salaries, then the parliament would get an increase in the salaries.
But the public servants get an increase of 6%. How on earth does the government get 30% if it is fixed? How on earth? Maybe what the question here is, since it's public servants, did the government also get a 6% to 13% increase and then a 30% increase? That's a good question to ask. Because if you're saying that government is fixed with the public servants, and you guys are pretty much public servants, does that mean that the government also got a 6 to 13% increase in their salaries? And on top of that, getting now a 30% increase? That is interesting, eh?
And the reason for this was that before 2007, you had a situation where there were a significant number of public officers whose salaries were higher than that of the Prime Minister, higher than other ministers, higher than of parliamentarians. And to avoid, when we made the change of salary in 2007, to avoid you going back to that situation, we said, look, whatever increase the public servants receive, then there will be a formula that will be used to allow for a change in the salaries of parliamentarians.
But sir, isn't salaries on the basis of merit or doing things? I mean, what are the parliamentarians? What are they doing? You go to office, you talk, you blase, you say you put in things in society that has no absolute help to the people. What has been done to society? Guys, help me understand. Help me understand. There are people in the hospital who still need help. Remember the other day, they were complaining on the radio, on SKERRIT radio station, Well, SKERRIT radio station, brothers and sisters, saying that the people have been trying to reach the parliamentarians and they're not getting them to get help. They have been trying to get help from them for months and even years. So what are they doing to warranty them getting salary increases, but they can give themselves salary increases? Not true. They can give themselves salary increases even though they don't do nothing, on the basis of saying comparative to other individuals who probably have been doing the work, that most likely was more than government salaries, because they're actually doing the work. But what are government individuals doing? We lose. Look at the tourism minister. We're losing all sorts of things in tourism. Dominica is last kakarot in tourism. Even St. Vincent and the Grenadines is doing better than Dominica when it comes down to tourism. So on the basis of what merit are we giving individuals raises? But they can give themselves raises because they're government officials, because they are the one controlling it. We can give ourselves another raise. They can even say, tomorrow, let's give ourselves a 50% increase raise, and everybody's staying quiet. What merit, brothers and sisters? Are the people doing better today than they were doing 10 years ago? Are the people doing better today than they were doing 5 years ago? Are the people doing better today than they were doing a year ago? Brothers and sisters, a year ago we didn't have load shedding on a company that is controlled by RSC, that is controlled by the government, that is now saying that they bring up backup generators to solve the problems. It'll be the Christmas coming, just like they said they brought in solutions. And then we'll be back to load shedding. Don't you think, brothers and sisters, Christmas is coming? They know diasporas will be coming down from time to time around Christmas to be their families and what have you. Christmas not coming now. We thought it was February. Because February is when more diaspora is going to be coming. But hey, would it be far-fetched to say that, hey guys, load shedding is going to stop in December, some weeks in December or something like that, and then start back again later on until February? They might say, oh, the equipment stopped working and the equipment were not able to handle the capacity and all this kind of stuff there. Brothers and sisters, the capacity of more individuals coming to Dominica, it was able to handle them. If Dominica has 50,000 people and 5,000 came down for festival season, that means the load capacity wouldn't go up there. Fans had finished in stores, brothers and sisters. Not just solar fans, but fans themselves had finished in stores. The amount of people that come in, so obviously maybe they didn't have AC in the place to decal electricity, but they had fans, so more fans was using electricity. So even on that basis, brothers and sisters, doesn't that mean that the load shedding went up, but no electricity went? And when they left now, load shedding came back with less capacity being used. I mean, come on. Maybe I don't understand certain things. Maybe just me. But what are your thoughts, guys? I was gonna talk about another thing, but let me leave that alone, brothers and sisters. What are your thoughts? Leave your thoughts in the comment box below in regards to the different things that I've stated right here. What are your thoughts on the Venezuela Guyana situation? What are your thoughts on the Prime Minister talking about salaries increases and this kind of things there? What are your thoughts in that regard? And what was the first one I talk about? What was the whole where was I now?
Some comments from 2 archbishops.
What are your thoughts on the whole situation involving the signing of the agreement, brothers and sisters? We talk about a very pluralistic understanding. The Prime Minister apparently doesn't see that. He says it's not written there, so it's not that. So you think this archbishop does make up things? They just make up situations in the head because it's not written word for word. But that's what the Prime Minister has mentioned. It's not written word for word. But you have to understand the agreement that you're going after. It literally promotes pluralistic societies. Literally, it's not make up numbers. It's literally inclusive and pluralistic societies. Anyways, guys, what are your thoughts? Leave your thoughts in the comment box below. Do you think the Prime Minister should sign any agreement when it comes down to these situations? These are just my thoughts, guys. What are your thoughts? Leave your thoughts in the comment box below, guys. This is pretty much all about for this reaction vibrations. I'm not gonna be dropping another one because I know this one is pretty long, so I'm gonna be just dropping this one on BrBpTV. What are your thoughts, guys? Leave your thoughts. I want to hear what you guys have. I want to hear what you guys have. I want to hear what you guys have to say in the comment box below, guys. And of course, all the links will be in the first comment as well. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on that post notification so you can get all the videos as they tend to come through. And I'll see you guys in the next reaction video. Remember, guys, be real, be positive.